The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by and another takes its place. To live happily is an inward power of the soul. He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive. Do every act of your life as if it were your last. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Our anger and annoyance are more detrimental to us than the things themselves which anger or annoy us. Your life is what your thoughts make it. Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs. Each day provides its own gifts. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees. Nothing happens to any man that he is not formed by nature to bear. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinions of himself than on the opinions of others. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. Anything in any way beautiful derives its beauty from itself, and asks nothing beyond itself. Praise is no part of it, for nothing is made worse or better by praise. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. The universe is transformation, life is opinion. Everything that happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so. Life is neither good or evil, but only a place for good and evil. Here is the rule to remember in the future when anything tempts you to be bitter. Not, "This is a misfortune," but to bear this worthily is good fortune. Such as are your habitual thoughts, such also will be the character of your mind, for the soul is dyed by the thoughts. Let men see, let them know, a real man who lives as he was meant to live. Adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live. Because your own strength is unequal to the task, do not assume that it is beyond the powers of man, but if anything is within the powers and province of man, believe that it is within your own compass also. Tomorrow is nothing, today is too late, the good lived yesterday. Begin to begin is half the work, let half still remain. Again begin this, and thou wilt have finished. Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom thyself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. To the wise, life is a problem, to the fool, a solution. Natural ability without education has more often raised a man to glory and virtue than education without natural ability. Poverty is the mother of crime. Anger cannot be dishonest. Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. A man should be upright, not be kept upright. Death is a release from the impressions of the senses, and from desires that make us their puppets, and from the vagaries of the mind, and from the hard service of the flesh. Let not your mind run on what you lack, as much as on what you have already. Where a man can live, he can also live well. A noble man compares and estimates himself by an idea which is higher than himself, and a mean man by one lower than himself. The one produces aspiration, the other ambition, which is the way in which a vulgar man aspires. Despise not death, but welcome it, for nature wills it like all else. How much time he saves who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks. We ought to do good to others, as simply as a horse runs, or a bee makes honey, or a vine bears grape season after season without thinking of the grapes it has borne. The act of dying is one of the acts of life. To understand the true quality of people, you must look into their minds and examine their pursuits and aversions. Aptitude found in the understanding and is often inherited. Genius coming from reason and imagination, rarely. Be content with what you are and wish not change, nor dread your last day, nor long for it. We are too much accustomed to attribute to a single cause that which is the product of several, and the majority of our controversies come from that. Be content to seem what you really are. Death, like birth, is a secret of nature. When thou art above measure angry, bethink thee how momentary is man's life. Men exist for the sake of one another. What springs from earth dissolves to earth again, and heaven-born things fly to their native seat. there is nothing happens to any person but what was in his power to go through with. The universal order and the personal order are nothing but different expressions and manifestations of a common underlying principle. Forward, as occasion offers. Never look round to see whether any shall note it. Be satisfied with success in even the smallest matter, and think that even such a result is no trifle. The above are the life wisdom quotes for this episode. Which quote is your favorite? Please leave a comment to tell us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you next time.